It's Talk with your host, Reggie B. Come on, let's all join in. Free your voice, it's your choice, alright here. Oh, simply straight talk.
Hey.
Hey, love.
Have you spoken to your friend Stuart lately?
We talked earlier today about some random stuff. Why?
Did you know that he doesn't have a relationship with his kids? As a matter of fact, they have not talked in over a year.
Wow. I have noticed he changes the subject whenever I ask him about his kids. I figured he just didn't want to talk about it at the time.
Well, if we were to break up after having kids, we would have a real problem if you didn't speak to them.
Well, what if I just didn't talk to you instead of the kids?
Oh, you got jokes. I'm going to show you how funny your little joke is when I get home.
Oh, baby, don't be like that.
And now, your host, Reggie Maddox, with the best radio talk on this side of the world.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Simply Straight Talk Show. This is your host, Reggie Maddox, the conversation starter. And today, we have a conversation that I know you're going to love. Today, we're talking about broken relationships between fathers and kids. Now, let me tell you why I really wanted to hit this conversation. Because, when I go out to eat, I really like to listen to some of the things that people talk about. And there's a restaurant that I go to, and normally when I talk to the waitress, she's kind of telling me about some of the things, from some of the regulars that come to her, that sit at her tables. And one of the things we was talking, and one of the things that really kind of hit me were how many men who spoke to her were talking about the fact that they want a relationship with their kids and they don't have it. Whatever happened in the past, I don't know the full details. Some of the kids won't have nothing to do with them. Some of the kids are just limited with what they'll do with them. But basically, they're at the point to where, the fathers are like, man, I've been trying for years to rebuild this relationship and it's just not working. Now, I know there's some people out there right now that's already saying if they would have did what they should have did in the beginning, then they wouldn't be in this position. Well, here's the thing. You don't know that. You don't know what brought their relationship to this point. And that's kind of why I want to have this conversation, because a lot of people, when they hear that a father doesn't have a relationship with his kids, it's automatically assumed that the father is the bad guy. The father did everything wrong. It's his fault. No, it is not his fault all the time. It could be his fault. And I'm not denying that there are some men who brought it upon themselves. But I'm going to tell you right now, I firmly believe that it takes two people to create this type of environment. So yes, I'm putting it on the fathers. I'm putting it on the mothers. Well, let's say three. And I'm also putting it on the kids. So I'm putting it on the family all together. It is the family who is responsible for this. It is not just one person. So we got to just stop blaming one person. You can't just always say it's the men. So let me go and put that out there right now. So for those of you who don't like it, well, I hope by the end of the show, you have a little bit better understanding. This is not meant to attack men. This is not meant to attack women. This is definitely not attacking the children in the relationship. This is just trying to bring light to something that I think is fixable in a lot of relationships if people are willing to put forth the effort. Now, we all know that, June 16th was Father's Day, okay? And for many, Father's Day, comes with pride. And it's like prestige. As many men, they celebrate the day with their children. Now, for a father, there is nothing better, okay, when it comes to your son, than teaching him sports. Watching your son sit on the couch and try to imitate you. You know what I'm saying? How you sit, he sits. You know what I'm saying? What you eat, he want to eat. You know what I mean? So it's just such a positive feeling. When he see you cook, he want to cook like you. He want to put on your shoes. He want to work on what you work on. You cutting the grass, he want to cut the grass. Because he said, that's dad. I want to be like dad. Dad is my mentor. Dad is my guide. Dad is my counselor. You know what I'm saying? This is my role model in life. Not some TV celebrity, but dad. Dad is who I want to be like. And for a father to see these things in his son, it makes him proud. They call it peacocking. That is the best form of peacocking, when a father sees his son wanting to be like him and he sticks his chest out. That makes a father feel good. It's just something that you can't understand or explain unless you're feeling that thing. Now, when it comes to a father, watching him grow into manhood is the ultimate. That's the ultimate. That is the ultimate. Now, some people saying that I'm leaving out the daughters. No, I'm not. Because, see, for a father with a daughter, it's all about protection and providing. You see what I'm saying? And to have your daughter greet you in the way she greets you and show her confidence in her father. You know what I'm saying? Like when somebody comes up and the daughter don't know him and she wraps herself around dad, stand behind dad's legs, or bury her face in dad or in his arms. You know what that says? This is my dad. This is my protector. I'm turning to you. When she buries her face in your neck because she's like, Dad. And you know what? And dad has that natural instinct to look up. And he comforts her. He's either a pat on the back, kiss on the forehead, a little talk, oh, dad got you, baby. You know what I'm saying? These moments make a father proud. When somebody tries to talk to his daughter as he gets older, the father get a chance to let him know, like, listen, I'm that pride male lion. You about to get the teeth and claws right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to lay some paws on you. Those are the things that make a father proud. Watching his daughter grow. The love of his daughter. The love of his son. Watching his daughter mature. Call on him when she needs help. Like, Dad. That's what a man loves with his daughter. When the daughter leans on him. Like, Dad, I'm concerned. Dad, I'm scared. That brings out the peacock from the daughter's side. Because now he's that protector. When his daughter needs something, he can provide it. Now he's that provider for his daughter. You got to understand, a father's going to love a son. He loves his son and daughter, but there's two different types of raising them. So it's not two different types of love. It's one genuine love, but it's two different types of rearing. And that don't mean that he's sending his son out there to be a dog to women. No. It means he wants to instill manhood in him by teaching him how to be a man the right way. He wants his daughter to be precious, gentle, protected, cared for. That's his daughter. This is his son. Yes, he wants his son to rough out play, kind of learn. If his son gets in a fight, it's what you did wrong. Let me teach you. If his daughter gets in a fight, who did what? Who put their hands on you? Oh, wait a minute. I'm about to go get the shotgun. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's two different things, but it's all one love. So these things that a father gets from his child, sometimes I think people don't understand it, or people underestimate that a love from a father to his children. People don't seem to think that a father can love his children more than a woman. And we understand, yes, that a woman does carry the child for 9 months. We get that. We understand that. And we understand that there is a maternal bond that a woman has with her kids. But fathers have a bond also with their kids. Because you got to remember, that woman didn't just lay in bed and say, oh, I'm going to have a baby. Okay, I'm pregnant. No, that father gave a part of him to conceive that child. So that's a part of him too, even though the world really don't acknowledge that until it's time for child support. But you got to realize something, that the woman's eggs were fertilized by the man's semen. She didn't fertilize them herself. The man gave of himself to her to create that child, to help build that family. So you got to understand something. That is something when a man knows that, wow, this is a part of us creating our children. Not just the woman saying, I made the child. Yes, the woman does carry the child, but the child was created by the man and the woman. And I think oftentimes we overlook the fact that, yes, the man is a contributor unto the life of the child. And the only time that's acknowledged, like I said, is when it comes to child support. It needs to be acknowledged before then. Now, when we get into this, okay, some men on Father's Day, they constantly spend this day wishful thinking, and some men end up retreating to seriously a lonely place. And some men actually go into depression, just wishing the day would just go away, because it adds sauce to the wound that they don't have the relationship with their child. They can't be with their children. You know what I'm saying? So Father's Day is a day for some that is built on love, that is precious and something that fathers look forward to. For some fathers, it's a day to where, you know what, I just wish it would pass because I'm unable to enjoy this day. Because, my children could be 4 or 5 miles away and I still can't talk to them. I still can't see them. There's no phone calls to me wishing me happy Father's Day. The only Happy Father's Day I get is the blanket Happy Father's Day that people post on Facebook or social media, and I don't even feel like it applies to me. And that is what some fathers experience. And it's not a pleasant thing. It's not a fun thing, but it's the reality of what some fathers experience when it comes to actual, Father's Day. Because it's very difficult to be a father and to be in a relationship with a woman. Y'all got a great relationship, but it gets to the point to where the relationship comes to an end. Now, the children are given to the mother. And, over time, things happen. And despite, the father's effort to kind of regain a relationship with the kids, they end up hitting a dead end. Because the mother has her feelings, the father has his feelings, and basically the two of them are not getting along. So sometimes what you have is the mother actually saying things in front of the kids about the father, and he may be paying his child support, but because of the emotional hurt and stress that they're feeling towards each other, the kids are getting the butt of it. So now the kids are believing what the mother is saying. She's telling them this. Sometimes the kids are used as pawns in the relationship when she don't feel she's getting what she wants, or she's mad at him for whatever reason. And, the father just ends up hitting a dead end to where his kids start resenting him. And then when he's unable to have this relationship now, society begins to describe him as a deadbeat father, an absentee father. But truly, I believe that many fathers do want to be a part of the relationship with their kids. But when you start having parental alienation, it has an adverse effects not only on the alienated parent, but also on the children. And some experts say that it's vital for a child to have both the mother and father as part of their growth. And I do believe that because I grew up in a home to where I didn't have my father. My father was nowhere around. So I was just raised by my mother. And as a child growing up, I remember that, there was this guy who lived next door. He would come out and play football. As a male child, you want that bond. You want that male bond to see how men act and grow. You know what I'm saying? And when you don't have that, it's kind of like you're lost. And I think that it is important to have a male and female in the relationship in the child's life. I mean, even for a man, single man raising a daughter. Now, can he raise his daughter? Yes. But do I feel that there is something that a woman can teach a daughter that a man can't? Absolutely. A man cannot teach a woman how to be a woman, just like a woman cannot teach a boy how to be a man. You know what I'm saying? So I do feel like both parents are needed. And, and somebody asked me, like, why is this topic so personal to me and important? Because when I researched this whole thing, man, it was just really difficult to find anything about fathers who want to be a part of their family's lives. And it's really difficult to find. Now, you can find a whole bunch of articles on deadbeat dads and broken dads and dads not paying child support. But there's not many stories that actually talk about the things that goes on with the fathers who want to be a part of their child's lives, but they're not. Now, you got a few videos out there from women and a couple from men, but mainly from women who are telling other women, listen, stop using your children against your husband. Let the men be a part of the relationship. But you know that every woman is not willing to be a part of that. Now, as a father, a divorced parent, I understand the struggles that these men are going through when you're trying to be a part of your child's life. And it's difficult, man. It is such a hard road. And you know what? For a father, I think many people underestimate the hurt and pain that comes with what a father feels is a broken promise to his child. When a father feels like, I made a promise and I can't deliver, dude, that's like a gunshot wound. It is. And I'm not talking about like a little 22. This is like a man being shot with like a magnum or, a doggone tank. It is a huge this is a hollow point bullet to his soul when a man has a broken promise to his child. And it hurts. It hurts because that huge failure that he feels like he's having to deal with, when he sees his child or it's just tough. So how do you deal with that? How do men deal with that? We got to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about what happens when men are deliberately cut out of their children's lives. When these men who want to care for their offspring, but they are denied, what happens to them? What is the impact of this? So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the pain of broken promises with men to their children. So you guys keep it tuned, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Simply Straight Talk family. Your host, Reggie, will be right back. So don't you dare touch that dial. There are so many talented young men and women attending our HBCUs. Don't you think it's time we show them our support? This year, Reggie will be highlighting HBCU bands, dance teams, and sports programs. And we are inviting you to show your love as well by attending games in your area. When you buy tickets to attend these events, you are helping to support not only the programs, but the great minds of our future generation as well.
We're back with the conversation starter and the voice that works harder. Your host, Reggie.
Hey, everybody, and thank you for sticking with us after that short break. And we're going to continue the conversation. Now, for those of you who are just joining us, we're talking about broken bonds, broken relationships between fathers and their kids. Now, I know for some people that this is a hard topic, but what I'm hoping also that by the end of the show, it will become a healing topic for you and your family if you're going through this, whether you're the kids, whether you're the father, or whether you're the mother who has a way to breach the relationship between the father and kids by saying, hey, I said some things I shouldn't have, but you need that relationship. And the same thing for fathers. Help build those bonds back between the fathers and their kids. And we really want to work on doing that. So we left off the show talking about, the love and the pain of a father when the broken promises take place between him and the kids. And we also, asked the question, what happens when men are deliberately cut out of their children's lives? When these men who want to care for their offspring are denied intentionally from being a part of their kids' lives. Now, people say, well, how is a father denied, being deliberately cut out of his children's life and denied the chance to be with his offspring? When a father is dealing with an ex who is bitter, and when she's bitter, it's dangerous, not only to the kids, but for the livelihood for the family as a whole, whether they're separate or together. So when you're dealing with a bitter ex and some of the things they do, it does become dangerous. It does become toxic because things that they'll do is, let's just say if a father is dealing with a bitter ex, she might try to create problems on his job. Because yes, he may be paying his child support, but he may not be doing the extra things that she wants. She may feel like, well, he should still be buying groceries. He should still be fixing my car. She wants the responsibility of a current wife when she's an ex. And you can't have it. Once it's divorced, he's paying his child support. He's trying to be a part of that child's life because you want to get your hair done, because you want to do all this extra stuff. Now you go on the attack to pressure him into doing some of the things you want. And some of the things is like creating problems on his job. If he gets into a relationship, say like a year or two, whatever later or whatever, he gets into a new relationship, he's happy. He's moving on with his life. He's loving his kids. But when the kids home and tell you, oh, we met dad's girlfriend, she's really nice. Now, all of a sudden, this little jealousy monster, this angry monster comes out. And now you're seeking to cause problems in that relationship between them. And sometimes you'll use the kids. Like they might be planning a trip where she's going to go with them and they might be going to Disney World. They might be going to Six Flags of Atlanta. And all of a sudden, now you don't want the kids to go. You don't want to get the kids up that weekend. Or you're trying to change things around just to cause problems. Sometimes some people will actually go as far as to have fathers arrested. If the father comes to the house to pick up the kids, they'll start acting crazy, like they've been beaten and they've been hit, or he's trespassing. It's something to create a problem to where when the police comes, the man is going to look like the antagonist, like he's the one that's actually creating the problems. She's going to try to make it seem like she's been threatening and she's in so much danger. Now, this poses a bigger problem because not only are you risking his livelihood with his job, you also about to give this man a criminal record that he shouldn't have. And they have no problem locking us up, especially as brothers. But you know what? This man is getting ready to go to jail for something that he doesn't, that's not even because of you being stupid. So you're giving him a criminal record, which can mess up his job, which can mess up the child support, and it's going to totally throw his life off keel. And then the other thing that people can do that sometimes will happen is, sometimes women will create stories that cause animosity between the father and the kids. Especially if she has primary custody and the father only has visitation. When she is not happy, she will begin to degrade and make comments about the father. She might tell the father, no, I'm not letting you pick up the kids. No, you're not getting the kids this weekend. No, this is my weekend with them and you're not going to be here for the birthday. I don't want you here. So the kid is like, hey, is dad coming to the birthday? Oh, your dad don't want to be a part of this. So we're our own family now. He didn't want to do nothing. He didn't want to be a part of you. He don't want to share your life. All these little snide comments that sometimes women will make towards the kids about the father will make the kids start to think like, wow, daddy don't care. Daddy don't want to be with me. You know what I'm saying? Daddy isn't trying to be a part of my life. But the kids don't hear that other phone call when the mom sends them to another room and she's telling the dad, well, I'm not going to let you because I don't want to. And it's really her who's being the blockage in between the relationship and the father and the kids. But the kids only have the information that she's given. And the father is now becoming more of an outcast because the kids now are beginning to resent the father. And they are starting to believe the things that, because they're seeing the mom crying, they're seeing the mom like she's hurt and like she's sad, and they're giving the impression that dad is always happy living his life and he doesn't care about us. But it's not him, it's her. And this is what I'm not saying all women, let me correct that. This is what some women will do. This is the extent they will go through to alienate and degrade the father in front of the kids. And the long-term effect of this ends up being the kids feel like, wow, dad was never there. I don't want any part of his relationship with him. I want nothing to do with him. Some fathers will pay child support, but the mother will make it seem like the father doesn't give any money. Because you got to remember, especially when they're young kids, the child support goes to the mother, not to the kid. The kid has no idea. So the mother could be getting that money and never tell the child anything. So the child can grow up all the way to 18 thinking like, wow, dad never contributed a penny. And he's like, oh, I gave money last month and I pay money to your mom. But mom just says no. And then what is dad to do? How can he argue with that? If he start breaking up receipts, mom can always counter it with something else at home. So it puts him in a tough position. So this is why I say you got to understand that you can't always say men are at fault when it comes to relationships failing between the fathers and the kids, because there are some mothers out there who really do go all out to create a disturbance and to create a negative outlook on the father to where that relationship cannot recover. But then let's give credit to those mothers who actually do encourage the relationship with the father. So let's give credit to those mothers now, because there are some mothers out there who like, listen, I want you to have a relationship with your father. Despite what me and him went through, we still coexist to make sure the kids are taken care of. So props out to those moms who understand the importance of the father. And also props to the fathers who understand the importance of the mothers, to where despite that their differences and they're not together, they understand that the kids need to be taken care of. So props to both of y'all, with a special shout out to the mothers who understand that the father is a part of the family, even though they're not together, and does not try to separate the father from the kids. But to the mothers out there who are really intentionally using their kids as pawn to hurt the fathers, you know what? In the words of Willie D, I probably shouldn't say it, but your daddy should be ashamed, and your mama, we'll leave it at that. But listen to Willie D, y'all hear the rest of that. But the thing about it is this, none of that stuff works, because it doesn't make anything better. The father is just going to end up resenting you, and he's going to most likely end up resenting the whole relationship. And it's going to get to the point to where when you start getting the father arrested and you start messing with his job, where he actually either loses his job, he misses out on the chance of a promotion because the company feels like his personal life is too much, or it will bring a negative outlook on the company. When you start doing all that, you're messing up the chance for anything positive to come out of it. And some men will just simply get to the point to where they're just going to say, forget it. I'm out. I'm done. I can't do it. I can't live. Now, here's a little insight. Let me tell y'all this little quick story. Like I said, sometimes I share some things I don't like to share, but I feel this is necessary. When I was in Atlanta, I was going through a tough time, man. And, like I said, I was paying child support and all that. I lost my place because I couldn't afford to pay the rent, and I was just getting so far behind. So I was homeless, you know what I'm saying? I was living on the street trying to get my finances and everything together. So I was sleeping on the park downtown. I was sleeping in the park downtown, right across from the Capitol on the bench. And there was these group of guys out there. Now, they were homeless too. Now, here's why, you know what I'm saying? I really like to understand the behavior and mindset of people. This is a group of men. There was probably about 8 or 9 of us, and we're all homeless. And I'm listening to this one gentleman speak, and he was like, I don't want to be out here. He says, but every time I get a job, they take the majority of my check. He said, I can't afford to live. He said, I was working 2 jobs, and they was taking money from both the job checks. And he says, I couldn't do it. He said he was not bringing home enough money. He said out of 2 jobs, he was only bringing home $150 between 2 jobs. He said he did that for a year, and he finally just said, I give up. I give up. He said he tried to be a part of the kid's life. She wouldn't let him. He says just everything with her was just bitter, bitter, bitter. She was the one that cheated on him. She was the one that ruined the relationship by her actions. And he said he finally just said, I give up. I'd rather be on the street begging than to be struggling, trying to live off $150 a month, working doggone 160 hours a week, 2 full-time jobs. And when you hear the rest of the men talk about their stories of what they was going through and what they was trying to do with their families, and they were denied that opportunity because of the women that were bitter in the relationships and the way the system is totally set up with child support, they had no chance, and they felt like there was absolutely no chance of recovery. They could not get ahead. And it got to the point where they simply said, man, I quit. I'm tired. I can't fight this anymore. I'm tired. I'm done. So hearing their story, man, it just really, that's a part of my life I will never forget. It was an educational part, but it's a part of my life I'll never forget. But you know what? You have to realize that, there has to be some way, and an emotional state that this takes on the fathers, I don't think a lot of women really understand the emotional impact it has. You know what I'm saying? I really don't think women get that. And it's something that men struggle with and they stay silent about, because when men speak about it, there is no comfort when it comes to talking about this subject with men to society, because society says, oh, you're just weak, you're a deadbeat, you're absentee father. Nobody wants to hear the heart of the man when it comes to this subject. They only want to label the man. And that's something you can't do. But hey, we got to take a break, and we will be right back, right here on the Simple Straight Talk Show.
We'll be back with your host, Reggie, on Simply Straight Talk.
Hey, are you looking for some great music, upbeat and with a positive voice? Well, the song I Stand With You is exactly what you need. This timeless song has a pop version sung by Audrey Carmel. And a reggae version sung by General Steele, now known as Revelation.
Now I know some days you may feel blue, Lord. Trust in your greatness to see you through.
These songs are now available on iTunes and other digital platforms for download. Don't miss out. Get your copy today.
Give life your best, and I know.
Free your mind, free your voice right here on Simply Straight Talk.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the final thoughts for today's show. And today we were talking about fathers and their kids, and we're mainly talking about the broken relationships that now exist between fathers and kids. And I want you to know that this was not intended to, make the women seem like the victims or the ones that's the real problem. The problem is the family as a whole. When relationships end, it's not about even if you're married, even if you were dating somebody and the person got pregnant and you're no longer dating. As the adults, it's up to you to ensure that both parents have a fair chance. That means mothers, you don't degrade or disrespect the fathers in front of the child. You don't tell the child bad things about the father. And fathers, the same thing. It applies to you. You don't degrade or disrespect or tell the child things about the mother. You might have your feelings towards each other. You might have things that you don't like about the other person, but the child needs to grow up with a fair view of each parent. It's a big difference if a father is supposed to do something and he keeps denying it and doesn't do it. And the same thing, if a mother is saying that she's going to do this and she's going to do this and never does it, that's totally different. But if you know that you have a mate or an ex that is actively working to be a part of that child's life, that wants to love that child and be with that child, provide for that child, take your feelings out of it. Take your hatred and your bitterness out of it. You know what I'm saying? No, you're no longer together. You might not like the reason that you're no longer together. But you know what? That has nothing to do with why that parent can't have a relationship with that child. It really hurts me to know that many fathers today have broken relationships with their children based on the fact that the mother had her own selfish goals that led to the, children resenting the fathers. And in some cases, mothers, you need to be careful because it can come back on you, because some children will go back and explore with their father to find out, why did this happen? Dad, why weren't you there? Why didn't you provide? Why didn't you pay child support? And some fathers actually keep track of things. So when you start sending letters back, when you start, somehow the father never paid child support, and that child is of age when they can understand and do math, and they're showing receipts from child support agencies and from banks that was cashed by the mother, now that child is going to look at the mother like, you lied to me the whole time. My father wasn't a bad person. You are a bad person. So the best thing to do is Let the child grow up and see for themselves. Don't degrade the other parent. Try to create a healthy environment, because you know what the truth is? That child is going to need to learn something from the both of you. And they shouldn't be learning hate. They shouldn't be learning anger and bitterness and jealousy. They should be learning love and acceptance. They should be learning how to mature and grow. They should be learning how to coexist peacefully, not with envy and hatred. So let's work on that, okay? Hey, thank you for joining us today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And don't forget, we are supporting the HBCU teams this year. That's right. We're all about the HBCUs, okay? The Sonic Boom of the South, the Marching Storm, okay? You know what I'm talking about? The Sounds of Dynamite, all right? Them Rattlers, okay? Them Wildcats, the Bethune-Cookman. We're going to support our HBCUs, so make sure you go to the RMVIG website, RMVIAGEM. Hit the HBCU donate button up there in the top, man. Whatever you can give, let's help make sure these kids can stay in school, finish their degree. Let's support the scholarship programs that give money back to them. Hey, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
That's this week's episode. Thank you for listening and being a part of the Simply Straight Talk podcast. We truly appreciate your support. Be sure to visit us at simplystraighttalk.com to join the conversation, access show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content on Patreon. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to join us next week for another episode.